Hello everyone. In continuation to the previous video on graphic organizers, here are a few more graphic organizers that we can make use of in the teaching and learning process. Uh, the third one, that is a fishbone map. If you can see here, it looks like a fishbone, the main bone and the other bones attached to the main bone. Okay, so let us see how exactly this fishbone graphic organizer or fishbone map graphic organizer could be used in the teaching and learning process. Now, the fishbone map, which we also call fishbone graphic organizer, is a type of graphic organizer that is used to explore many aspects or effects of a complex topic, helping the students organize their thoughts in a simple and a visual way. Use of colors helps make a fishbone map clearer and easier to interpret. And now, if the topic at hand involves investigating attributes associated with single complex topic and then obtaining more details on each of these ideas, use a fishbone map as your graphic organizer. So, if we see in the previous picture, there are different aspects that are dealt here: men, machine, methods, then measurement, materials, mother nature, and all these aspects contribute to the problem statement. So in this way, rather, we can make use of a fishbone map, which can be done even for a single complex topic, or obtain more details about it or more ideas associated with it. Now, the fishbone diagram is like a spider map, but it works for more complex topics that requires more details to be enumerated. And the process of creating fishbone helps the students focus on the topic, requires the student to review what they know in order to organize that knowledge, and helps the students to monitor their growing comprehension of the topic. So it helps you to also organize the information and also understand to what extent you have understood the topic. It also helps point out the areas where the students must investigate more, like that of a spider map. Now the next type of graphic organizer is a tree diagram. Now there are a type of graphic organizer that shows how items are related to one another. Now the tree's trunk represents the main topic and the branches represent the relevant facts, factors, influences, traits, people or outcome. So what are the uses of a tree diagram? Tree diagram can be used to sort items or classify them. A family tree is an example of a tree diagram. Now, other examples of trees are cladistic trees, which are used in biological classification, and dichotomous trees, which are used to determine what a group or specimen belongs to in biology. For example, this is a tree diagram. Okay? The main trunk and the branches, you can call it, and the various aspects associated with the each factor mentioned here. Then the next type of graphic organizer is a cycle diagram. Now a cycle diagram are a type of graphic organizer that shows how items are related to one another in a repeating cycle. Now use a cycle diagram when there is no beginning or no end to a repeating process. So we should know which type of graphic organizer to be used when. And now in making a cycle diagram, the student must identify the main events in the cycle and how they interact and how the cycle repeats. So it's basically understanding not only that it is a continuous process or a repeating process, but also understanding that it is something that requires interaction, and you also need to identify the main events in the cycle and the ones which repeat it, like this. Okay, so this is a type of graphic organizer with main points which are represented in a cyclical form. Next is a flowchart diagram, which is another type of graphic organizer. So they are a type of graphic organizer that visually display a chain of instructions. This is very important, which is used to complete an algorithm or other related concepts. Like for example, flowcharts have beginning, multiple possible outcomes at some nodes, rules at some nodes, and possible multiple endings. There are certain rules associated with flowchart diagrams. When you are making use of them, you need to know which symbols are used for uh, what type of message, or what are the different nodes that are there. So there are different symbols that I already mentioned, which have different meanings. For example, the arrows represent direction of flow. If you are pointing this way, this represents the direction of flow. Circles and ovals are starting, stopping, or control points. If you start a new topic, you make use of a circle. If you want to stop a topic, you make use of a circle. Or if you want to mention any control point, you mention a circle or an oval. Diamonds are decision points, wherein decision point in a concept could be represented rectangles and squares. Okay, like how circles and ovals, that way rectangles and squares are steps at which process takes place. If you have to mention or write the steps, you only need to make use of symbols like rectangles and squares. Circles are for starting and ovals are for starting. Circles and ovals are for starting and stopping or controlling. Diamonds are for decision points, and rectangles and squares are for the steps. So if you can see this, circles and ovals, the start and the end, okay, and then the rectangles wherein the steps are mentioned, okay, and then the diamond shape wherein the judgment is made, okay. So like how this is represented, your any concept could be represented in this way using a flowchart diagram. So this was about how flowcharts are used. So in this topic we have seen different types of graphic organizers, from that of tree diagram, a cycle diagram, and flowchart diagrams, and how each of these could be used in different different sections while teaching, and make the best use of it for making the teaching learning process more easier and more interesting for the students as well as for the teacher. So moving on with the same topic, let us have a look at another kind of support material, that is nothing but planning and use of activity sheets, or which we sometimes call, or more generally called as worksheets and models. Now, to start with, activity sheets or worksheets, we know how they are. So, they are specifically worksheets which are used for practicing specific information, isn't it? So, teachers can give work to students for self-learning with the help of these worksheets. Now, it is a proper and easy way of revising teaching contents. If you have done teaching a concept, you can make use of these worksheets, although there is a very professional format of how to go about developing a worksheet. But yes, if you know the basics of it, you can very well put in important aspects which are required for revision of any given concept, and help the students practice those concepts in a given convenient time, because they will have it with them and they can take their own time and their pace to complete a given situation or a given work. So worksheets are useful for homework, and it is a kind of a source of creativity, because here they are given an opportunity to explore or present their information in the way required. And worksheets are available in different formats, and students can practice over and over again, so that it helps them drill and practice a given concept which requires an understanding of that kind. So the next support material is a model. So we know how what are different types of models and how models help us. So let us have a look at exactly how this model can be theoretically looked upon. So models are nearest to a living experience, as they are the replicas of the original things. That's why the focus is on models more, because say suppose if you have a model of a heart, you are basically having some concrete support material with you to show to the students, and they can feel it, they can touch it, they can make use of all the five senses and understand what exactly a heart looks like. And if the model is prepared in a proper way, it could also help the students understand the given concept in a better way. So they are designed and simplified for teaching purpose, which provides contrived experiences. And model simplifies the reality and enables us to reduce or enlarge object to any desirable size. So they could be of any size. Now, if you look at the definition of a model, a scientific model is a representation of a real object or a system, and it is recognizable three-dimensional view of real things, so which is sometimes not possible to draw heart in a three-dimensional manner on a chalkboard, and sometimes if you could do it, it would be either time-consuming or won't be a very convenient way of representing the concept to the students. But in place of that, if you have a model with you, it can help the teacher a lot. Now, what is the purpose of model in instructions? So why do you think models are important and they can be used or they are required? First thing is that models they simplify reality. As they are three-dimensional, they evoke greater interest among the students. Model concretize abstract concepts. So if there is something abstract that you have to teach, and if you could prepare a model for that, nothing better than this. Models are of compact dimensions, so that can be used in classroom for teaching. They enable us to reduce or change or enlarge objects to an observable size. A large process can easily be demonstrated by a model as they provide interior views of the objects and machines, which is otherwise not possible. A working model will secure immediate attention and will serve as a motivation. So these were the reasons why we could go for use of models while we are instructing students. And if you have to look at the types of models, it could be of first type that is scale model, which is a representation or a copy of an object that is larger or smaller than the actual size of an object being represented, like that of a water power turbine. Second is a working model. It stresses on operational part of the actual topic or actual object and shows how these essential parts operate, because such models are in working conditions, so they work and show you how they function. So example could be motor. Third one is a sectional model. It is constructed in such a way that it can be dismantled to show it is not shoe, it is show, SHOW, inner construction. So if you have to discuss with the students the inner construction of any given object or a phenomena, you can make use of a sectional model, like a human brain model. Now, what are the advantages of it? It gives notion of reality. It the possibility of having enlarged or reduced scale model helps in close examination. Models can show structural as well as functional aspects of an object depending on the kind of model that you have chosen. Models can motivate the students to learn and develop curiosity, interest, and creativeness. So this was all about how models and worksheets could be used, and how what the different types of models and for what purposes they could be used in the teaching and learning process. So this was all about support materials, where we have seen different types of materials, its planning and use. So if you have any queries related to these support materials or the topic that we've dealt, please feel free to type it in the chat box. Thank you.